This looks like an ordinary PDF. The ones you use for textbooks, resumes, or those 200-page user manuals no one reads. Except hidden within this boring PDF is a fully playable Flappy Bird game. And this very moment decides if I wasted my entire week making this, because I'm about to find out if the game even runs at all. But before that, how the heck is this even possible? And how did I manage to make this extremely cursed PDF? Also, why did I even decide to torture myself with this? Well, let me explain. It all started when I came across a developer named Thomas Rinsma who made Tetris in a PDF. And then Doom. Yes, they read Doom in a PDF. That felt almost illegal. But it gave me an idea. Could I make Flappy Bird but in a PDF? And since both Tetris and Doom PDF lacked images, I wanted to go one step further by adding exactly what they didn't. So I immediately sat down, booted up my laptop, and that's when I realized I had no idea where and how to start at all. PDFs always seemed like static documents to me, but that was only the tip of the iceberg, so I dug deeper. A few hours later, I found gold. Breakout in a PDF, and some free code Don't mind if I just... Okay, so I may or may not have just borrowed some code, but now I still have to understand what the heck it even does. So I decided that my first goal is to render a colored square using the code. Alright, so if I understand correctly, this line of code right here should create a yellow square. And the moment of truth, there we go, a block. I was celebrating this achievement, but then it hit me. Flappy Bird didn't look like this at all. If I wanted to make it look like the original game, I had a bigger problem: images. But because of my procrastination, I've decided to throw this issue to future me. Anyways, last I checked, Flappy Bird doesn't just hover in midair, so I needed gravity. But that's when it hit me. I had to build physics from scratch. You see, I've been making games in Godot and Unity so much that I took their physics system for granted. Unfortunately now, I'm working with basically nothing. But even worse than nothing is that I'm also battling against the limitations of PDFs, as you'll see later on. Now, using the code I borrowed, I was able to inject JavaScript code into the PDF, and this is exactly what allows a game to be made. With that, it was simple enough to have the bird fall, as I could simply constantly update its position. However, a new issue arises. The bird just falls to its death right now, so I had to give it life, a flap. But then came another problem. The player controls the flap, which meant I had to somehow take the user input through this PDF document. Sounds simple, right? You just detect a key or mouse press. But here's the bad news. You can't, because PDFs aren't meant to be played. However, the good news is that you could add buttons, which can detect mouse clicks. So I quickly slapped a flat button into the PDF, wrote some random code, and hoped for the best. And bam, the bird jumps. That's great, but where's the fun of flapping up and down without some danger? It was time to add some Mario pipes, or more like the Timu version, green rectangles. I swear I'll get to the images part soon and make the game look nice. For now though, I had to make the pipes move, else they'll just be standing there and doing absolutely nothing. Which, I'm not gonna lie, sounds like me every day when I procrastinate. After whipping up a bit of JavaScript code, I managed to make the pipes move from the right edge of the PDF all the way to the left edge and loop. We now finally have some obstacles, but the pipes always come in the same Y position, which sucks because it makes the game really easy. So I needed chaos, and by that I meant random Y position generation. Alright, let's see the chaos in action. Wait, what? Oh, I forgot about collisions. Now again, back in game engines, you could just slap collision boxes everywhere. But this wasn't a game engine, which meant I had to manually check the position of the bird and pipes instead of having a function like onCollision. So with that done, the core gameplay was almost complete, but something felt off. And then I realized what it was missing. The score counter that stared deep into your soul. Naturally, I had to add that. Alright, the game is completed, the video is over, bye. Oh, what? The images? Well, fine. I suppose I should finally address the elephant in the room. Images. I have absolutely no idea how to do this, cause after googling I couldn't find any solutions, or any PDF games that had images. This means that I'd have to tackle this all on my own, or maybe just sneakily use emojis instead of images. Actually, let me just try that right now, and... oh, well, images it is. So here's the game plan. Step 1, research. Step 2, research more. Step 3, research even more. Step 4, draw sprites. Step 5, implement the first feature and hope that it works on the first try. So it turns out you can add images to a PDF, except you can't move them, which is kinda important for a game. The good news though is that you could attach an icon to a button, and buttons can be moved. With that, I went ahead and drew some sprites. Yeah, I totally didn't just completely rip off the original Flappy Bird sprites. Also, I don't even know why, but I drew the sprites first before even writing the code to generate button with icons. Anyways, now for step 5, or writing the actual function for adding button with icons, and pray that it somehow works. Guess what? It didn't work on the first try, or the second try, or the third try. Well, I just stopped counting after my 10th try, but just look at all this commented out spaghetti. I was scanning through countless lines of raw PDF gibberish for hours, desperately trying to understand why my code just wasn't working. After multiple days of zero progress, I was genuinely about to give up. But finally, one day, it somehow worked. The result of all that pain and suffering was a single lonely image of a red square. But it was the most majestic square I've ever seen. With this code, I quickly added my Flappy Bird sprite, played the game and... wait, what? As you just saw, the image did render initially, but the moment the button moved, it became a depressing grey square. Great, another bug. Guess what? A few hours later, I straight up rage quit on solving this. Turns out PDFs just refuse to re-render button icons once they move, or at least that's what I suspect. Also, debugging is pure pain when you're working with PDFs. Console.log? Don't even think about it. All you can use is the alert function which triggers a pop-up modal. So, was this the end of the project? Would I really have to revert back to colored squares? Nah, I'm going to do something cursed, but it is guaranteed to work. If moving breaks the images, fine, I won't move it. Instead, I'll create an entire army of Flappy Birds, and only show them one at a time. Essentially, this simulates movement, but the downside is that I'll have a mountain of PDF objects which hopefully wouldn't crash the PDF viewer, or worse, my laptop. So I quickly put together some code and behold, this absolute monstrosity which I have created. This is both brilliant and utterly cursed. At this point, I was really tired of staring at my spaghetti code. So to make things work, I went back and randomly put together some JavaScript code. And it somehow worked perfectly. Okay, the bird now looks cool, but the pipes are absolute crap. So let me just quickly fix that and bam. Somehow, I actually did it. Flappy Bird in a freaking PDF. What did it cost? My sanity, probably. But wait, there's one last thing left. I wanted to make this entire game hidden. To achieve that, I simply added a white rectangle that covered the entire PDF with a totally unsuspicious text. Finally, after countless bugs, cursed workarounds, and deeply questionable choices, we've come to this moment of truth. And... yep. A fully playable game of Flappy Bird hidden behind a seemingly normal PDF. If you want to try this cursed PDF game for yourself, join my Discord server to download it. Anyways, it's truly been a hell of a journey and honestly, I never want to see a PDF again.